If it's happening in professional wrestling, we're breaking it down. The matches, the moments, the rumors, and yes, even the hot takes. This is Pro Wrestling Focus. No nonsense, no wasted motion, just pure wrestling talk. Now, here's your host, Cody Springer.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Focus. And this is my review of WWE SummerSlam Night 1 and Night 2. I thought about doing two separate podcasts, but I mean, it's the same event, just broken up in two different nights. So I'm going to be covering Night 1 and Night 2 all in this podcast. Talk about the biggest moments, the best matches, and my overall thoughts on SummerSlam. We had crazy moments. We had the return of Brock Lesnar, which I'll be talking about much later on in the show. But yeah, so without any further ado, let's get into talking about the first ever two-night SummerSlam in WWE history. All right, let's start off with Night 1, and we'll talk about the opening match. It was Roman Reigns and Jey Uso against Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, with Paul Heyman at ringside. And I was surprised this kicked off the show, but hey, if you're not the main event, you want to go on first. Set the tone. And these four, yeah, they did exactly that. The match kicked off hot. Jey Uso hitting a dive to the outside right out the gate, just launching chaos from the jump. Breaker and Reed took over after that, and honestly, they looked like beasts, isolating Jey, cutting the ring in half, showing power and tag chemistry. They even teased a Steiner-style top rope bulldog, and I love that little nod, but they didn't hit it. But the crowd popped for the tease. Then came the hot tag. Roman gets in and just erupts. We're talking Superman punches, a massive tope con helio that had everybody's jaw hit the floor. Yes, Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, launching himself over the top rope like he's a damn cruiserweight. But Reed answered right back with a suicide dive of his own, and then Breaker plowed Roman through the Spanish announce table with a clothesline that looked like a car crash. And this is where things turned. Roman and Jey hit the 1D on Reed, but Breaker broke it up. And when Breaker went in for the kill, Roman Reigns pushed Jey out of the way and took the full force of a spear himself. That right there, huge. That's a complete 180 from the Roman who led the bloodline with fear and manipulation. That was family first Roman. That was growth. Jey capitalized, super kick, spear, Uso splash, and that's all she wrote. Clean win, 1, 2, 3. Your winners, Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, as I had correctly predicted. Now, fan reaction was mostly positive across the board. People loved the physicality, the intensity. It felt gritty. Roman's dive, you don't see that often. Totally caught everyone off guard. Even in a loss, Breaker and Reed looked great. They held their own. They made you believe they could win. And Roman's sacrifice for Jey, that's that juicy, layered storytelling that keeps people invested. But it wasn't all praise. Some fans thought it was weird that Jey got the pin and not Roman. Others felt it was more of a setup match. Good action, but clearly building towards something bigger. And yeah, if you're a Breaker or Reed fan, this loss didn't hurt them, but it didn't launch them either. Where does it all go from here? I'll tell you. Roman Reigns looks like he's shifting into this almost big brother mentor role. That spear he took could be the beginning of Roman trying to make things right. There's still that unfinished business with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, and I wouldn't be surprised if Roman's gunning for that World Heavyweight Championship real soon. And then Jey Uso just picked up a big win, and he's got momentum. Could be another world title run in his future, or maybe he reunites with Jimmy. Rumors say that Jimmy might be coming to Raw, and with that tag division needing some serious help, a full-blown Usos reunion could be on the horizon. Braun Breaker, he lost, but he looks strong doing it. He's probably going to keep rolling with Rollins and Heyman. And Bronson Reed, he's the big enforcer type. He'll likely keep playing muscle, probably eating pins, but he's still got value in that role. So yeah, SummerSlam's opening match delivered. It wasn't just four guys trading moves. There was heart, purpose, and forward momentum. Roman's evolution, Jay's rise, Breaker's presence, it all clicked. Final score for me, 4 out of 5. Excellent opener, big time energy, solid storytelling, everyone played their role, and it pushed the story forward across the board. All right, let's talk about the second match on SummerSlam Night 1, the women's tag team title match. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez defending the gold against the odd couple of Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. Now, first off, I'll just say it. This was a mistake. Raquel and Roxanne had something building. There was a unique vibe there, power, youth, momentum, and Judgment Day needing some strong representation in the women's division. Instead, what do we get? The odd couple team of Bliss and Flair picking up the win and the belts. So how did we get here? Right out the gate, we got a little tension between Flair and Bliss. Flair wanted to start. Bliss got jumped. Welcome to the match, Alexa. Raquel and Roxanne looked good early. They worked Bliss over, isolated her, showed that Judgment Day chemistry. Hot tag to Flair, big pop, some nice offense, even a close near fall on Perez. Then the chaos kicked in. Bliss accidentally clocked Flair with a forearm. The crowd gasped, and it looked like it was all over after Raquel hit the Tejana bomb and Roxanne followed with pop rocks. But Bliss came flying in with a blockbuster to break up the count. Next thing you know, Sister Abigail to Perez, Flair boots Raquel out of the ring, and boom, Bliss gets the pin. Let me say this, yeah, the match had good action. Charlotte Flair looked sharp, Alexa Bliss showed fire, and yes, the accidental forearm into the hug afterward, that was some fun wrestling drama. But here's my issue. Roxanne Perez cannot keep taking L's. She was a force in NXT. She was the prodigy. Now she's out here getting pinned every other week. Why? What's the long-term plan here? Is she paying dues? Getting punished for being too good too soon? Because let me tell you, the longer she keeps losing, the harder it's going to be to make fans believe in her again. As for Raquel, she's solid. She's always going to be protected to an extent. But this Judgment Day tension with Liv Morgan returning is clearly about to blow up. If Raquel turns on Roxanne or Liv turns on both of them, I'm here for it. But Perez deserves better than to be the fall girl every time. Now, Charlotte and Alexa as champs, it's fine. Star power boost, sure. Name recognition, absolutely. But how long before the friction starts again? That the accidental forearm is a ticking time bomb. And Alexa is still teasing that dark edge again. If she ends up aligning with the Wyatt Six, that tag team might not last too long. This match had its moments. It was clean, crisp, dramatic. But the booking, nah, I can't get behind it. Or I'll give this a rating of a 3 out of 5. Entertaining, but the wrong call for the titles. Roxanne deserves better. Raquel and the Judgment Day story could have kept rolling, and now we're left wondering what's next. And not always in the best way. All right, let's talk about one of the more divisive matches from night one, and that was Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross. Now, this wasn't just some throwaway grudge match. This was the payoff to a months-long storyline. Kross and Scarlett have been trying to drag Sami into the darkness. Psychological warfare, sneak attacks, gaslighting, the whole damn playbook. It had weight, it had layers, but did the match deliver on all that buildup? Let's get into it. The match opened up hot. Both guys came out swinging, not wasting any time. Zayn, as always, brought the energy. Cross brought the attitude and the size advantage. Scarlett was lurking ringside like always, playing her role to perfection. There were some early brawls outside the ring, and eventually Cross started slowing the pace and just bullying Sammy around. This was where the match felt like it was finding its rhythm. Cross taunting Sammy, trying to break his spirit, while Scarlett pulled the usual distractions. And here's the big turning point, the steel pipe shot. Scarlett slides it in. Sammy has this moment where he could have said screw it and bashed Cross's skull in, but he didn't. He stayed true to his code. He chucked the pipe. And listen, I respect that from a character standpoint. It was a clear choice. That's who Sammy is. He doesn't need shortcuts. Cross goes for a roll-up. Sammy escapes. Hits that exploder suplex into the corner. Lines him up. Boom. Haluva kick. 1, 2, 3. Sammy wins. Crowd pops. The story ends. Clean. Now here's the thing. Was the storytelling there? Yes. Was the execution good? That's debatable. I'll say this. It's hard not to feel let down by the result. Cross is a guy with potential. NXT era Cross was terrifying, intense, a legit monster. Fast forward to now, he's eating losses, looking like a guy they just don't have plans for. And after all that talk about tempting Zayn to turn heel, to embrace that edge, this felt safe, predictable. That edge got dulled. Some fans love the moral stand. Others, like me, think that Cross should have walked out with the W. Sami Zayn didn't need this win. He's Teflon at this point. Cross, he needed something to get momentum back. And let's not dance around the elephant in the room. Cross's future feels real shaky. The word backstage is that his contract might be winding down, and if this is how they're using him now, it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. Maybe Bruce Pritchard has a hand in this. I wouldn't be shocked. Sami Zayn, on the other hand, is probably back in line for a world title chase. Either way, he's still one of the most over guys on the roster, but if this is just another holding pattern, we'll be right back in the same conversation next month. Final thoughts? Love Sammy, love his character, but this finish left a bad taste. Cross deserved better. They built him up to be a threat, and once again, boom, flatlined. Rating, 2 out of 5. Story was there, but the match felt disjointed, and the finish did nothing for Cross. WWE's got to figure out what the hell they're doing with this guy before it's too late. All right, up next, we have Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill for the WWE Women's Championship. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was genuinely shocked when Tiffany retained. And not just because WWE could have put the belt on Jade. I expected them to do that. I thought they were clearly going to rocket launch her like they've done with others in the past. But clearly, somebody in the back pumped the brakes and said, hold up. She ain't ready. And for once, I'm glad they did. Let's start with the match. Stratton came in hot. She's undefeated all year, over 200 days as champion. She's got that flashy style, suicide dive, swanton bombs, the prettiest moonsault ever, and she threw that at Jade early to try and keep her off balance, but Jade, she's no slouch. Physically, she's a beast. She caught Stratton with a backbreaker and nailed that Eye of the Storm. It was really a nice clash of styles. Tiffany's finesse and athleticism versus Jade's strength and power. But here's where it got interesting. Jade hit the Jaded, and for a moment I thought it was over. But Jade backed Tiffany too far into the corner of the ring where Tiffany could get her foot on the rope. Then Jade tries to go high risk with a top rope Jaded. Stratton reverses it, hits the PME, and boom, 1, 2, 3. Let's call it like it is. The match was short, barely over 7 minutes, and yeah, I saw people online moaning about that. It was too short. They didn't get enough time. They buried Jade. Relax. Could have used another 3 to 5 minutes, sure, but not every match needs to be a half-hour epic. Sometimes you keep it tight, tell a solid story, and move on. This wasn't meant to be the match of the night. It was about sending a message, and that message is that Tiffany Stratton is the face of the women's division, and Jade Cargill, she's still a work in progress. And speaking of Jade, let's address the elephant in the room. A lot of people are upset that she lost. I get it. She won Queen of the Ring, she's got the look, the presence, and you can tell that WWE wants her to be a star. But here's the hard truth. She's not ready yet. The in-ring work isn't fully there, and you can't just slap the belt on someone because they look the part. WWE didn't give her the Charlotte treatment, and honestly, that's a good thing. Let's talk fan reaction. Some folks loved the match, said both women looked great, especially Stratton with those aerial moves. Others weren't thrilled. They felt it ended too fast, and that Jade losing kills her momentum. I don't see it that way. I see this as a reality check for Jade. She's got all the tools, but she needs to sharpen them. WWE didn't bury her. They tested her, and now she's got to bounce back. Tiffany Stratton, on the other hand, she's proving why she's the champion. She's not just a blonde Barbie gimmick. She's athletic, she's confident, and she can go. I do think she could use more character depth, maybe a bit more edge. There's already talk of a possible heel turn, and that could do wonders for her. A cocky, dominant Tiffany with a little mean streak, that's money. Final thoughts? Look, this match didn't steal the show, but it did its job. It showcased Tiffany as a legitimate champion and gave Jade a platform to show how far she's come and how far she still has to go. I'll give it a solid 3 out of 5. Not a classic, but it told a clear story and made the right booking call. WWE didn't blink, they stuck with Stratton, and I was wrong. I thought they would go with Jade, but I'm glad they did not. They didn't do that. She's not quite there yet. Doesn't mean she won't be, just means she's got more chapters to write before the gold comes her way. All right, up next, we have Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. Yeah, you heard that right. That's a sentence I never thought I would say. But the build-up to this match was straight out of a fever dream. Jelly Roll, the man, the myth, the country rap legend, gets involved in a wrestling feud after catching strays on SmackDown, links up with the Viper, and suddenly we're staring down a tag match with real stakes. Add in Logan Paul cheap-shotting Jelly on Jimmy Kimmel Live, and you've got something that sounds more like a meme than a PLE card. But credit where it's due, Jelly Roll trained hard, lost 230 pounds, committed to the role, dude showed up. Bell rings, or rather before it rains, Logan Paul goes full slime ball and hits Jelly Roll with a cheap shot. Real classy. Jelly Roll fights back though. Say what you want about his experience level, but he brought the heart. He hit a big choke slam, a textbook black hole slam, and stayed in there longer than some indie guys with years of work. Then came that frog splash to the announce table. Logan Paul absolutely yeeted himself off the top rope and damn near cut Jelly Roll in half. It might go down as the biggest bump a celebrity has ever taken in the history of this business. No joke. And what does Jelly Roll do? It looked like for a minute he was done, but he got back in there and fought. And then Orton went into full Apex Predator mode, dropped a suplex on McIntyre from the top rope, and he looked like he was about to swing this whole thing around until Claymore City came calling. Drew McIntyre boots Jelly Roll with the Claymore. Orton hits the RKO on Drew. Logan Paul hurls Orton to the ring post, and Logan hits the frog splash on Jelly Roll. 1, 2, 3. Paul and McIntyre still won in 17 minutes and 5 seconds. Now, what did I think? Honestly, I liked it. It was way better than it had any business being. Was it messy? Yeah. Was it a little overbooked? Sure. But was it entertaining? Absolutely. Jelly Roll earned my respect. Took a hell of a beating, especially that table bump, and kept pushing. I don't care if you're a full-time worker or a part-time rapper. That spot hurts. And he didn't look completely out of place, which is impressive for a debut. Logan Paul continues to impress me with how much he gets it. Whether you like him or not, the man puts in the work and takes real heat. And pairing him with McIntyre gives them both an edge. Classic flashy heel meets brutal powerhouse. I'm surprised they got the win. Thought for sure they'd give the feel-good moment to Jelly and Orton, but nope, I was wrong again. I'm not mad at it. It keeps the heat going and sets up a longer story. I'm giving this match a 3.5 out of 5. It was a chaotic, physical, and told a decent story. Not a classic, but definitely memorable. And to the haters mad about Jelly Roll's involvement, look, you don't have to love it, but you gotta respect the hustle. He showed up, took his licks, and made you feel something. That's pro wrestling. All right, up next is the main event of SummerSlam Night 1 for the World Heavyweight Championship, CM Punk versus Gunther. And this is every bit of what you want in a big fight main event. Stiff as hell, deliberate, and oozing drama. Punk fought from underneath the entire damn time, and Gunther was chopping the soul out of him, powerbombing him in the next week, but Punk, man, he fucking stayed alive. He kept swinging. Say what you want about CM Punk, but in that ring, when the lights are bright, dude delivers every fucking time. In that spot on the announce table, Gunther flexing like a cocky bastard, thinking it was already in the bag, only for Punk to trip him up and bust him wide open. Beautiful. Old school shit. I know they try to pass that blood off as a nose injury, but let's call it what it was. He bladed the hell out of his forehead, and it worked. Visually, that red pouring down Gunther's face sold the exhaustion, the brutality, and the urgency of what Punk was about to do. 2 GTSs later, and CM Punk finally gets his big WWE title moment again. First time in over 12 damn years. Chicago Jesus was back on top. And then, boom, Seth Rollins' music hits, and I'm sitting there like, yep, there it is. Now here's the thing, I predicted this shit. I called it weeks ago. Rollins faking the knee injury, classic heel shit. Comes out with Heyman, drops the crutches, rips off the knee brace, and sprints to the ring like a motherfucker at a Black Friday sale. He stomps Punk's head in, cashes in, gets the 1, 2, 3, and just like that, Punk has been robbed again. Punk's reign lasted about as long as a fart in a hurricane. That's what sucks, because the moment was there. Punk winning was emotional. It was earned. But WWE went full fuck you and Rollins snatched it right out of his hands. And you know what? I don't even hate the idea of Rollins cashing in. It makes sense in the story. Rollins hates Punk, always has, always will. But the execution, they half-assed the setup. They didn't commit to the swerve. If they had gone all in, said Rollins tore his ACL, was going to be out 9 to 12 months, I would have bought into the lie. We all would have. Instead, they were vague as hell with that whole maybe he's hurt, maybe he's not bit, and that ambiguity undercut the shock factor. Predictability kills moments like this. In WWE, you played yourselves. Let's break this shit down. Match quality, fucking elite. 4.5 out of 5 easy. Top tier storytelling. Both guys showed out. Punk, gritty, determined, emotional. This match was tailor-made for him. Gunther, strong as hell, but overconfident. His cockiness led to that loss, and apparently he's legit getting no surgery, which explains the early exit. Rollins' snake-ass heel move. Effective, but not as jaw-dropping as it should have been. And now we're looking at Punk going into revenge mode, Rollins playing smug champ with Heyman by his side, and Gunther on the bench until he heals. But let's not ignore the fans. Some are pissed that Punk's reign was cut short. Some feel Gunther's character got nerfed just to make Punk look good. And some, me included, think that Rollins' cash-in was good in theory, but could have been fucking legendary with a little more planning. All in all, this match and moment should have been one for the history books. Instead, it's another WWE swerve that hit, but not as nearly as hard as it could have. All right, so let's look at the matches that I got correct. I got 3 out of 6 matches correct. The ones I got wrong was Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross, and I think I went with Kross mainly out of support for him, even though I knew deep down that Sami was going to win. I also got Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill incorrect. I picked Jade to win. I really thought they were going to put the title on her, but I'm glad I was wrong. And then I also got Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul incorrect. I picked Randy and Jelly to win, and Drew and Logan ended up getting the win, which, like I said before, I'm completely fine with. But let's get into the rating for night 1. Now let's look back at the ratings for all the matches. Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. I gave that a 4 out of 5. Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez against Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. I gave that a 3 out of 5. Sami Zayn versus Karrion Kross, gave that a 2 out of 5. Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill, gave that a 3 out of 5. Randy Orton and Jelly Roll versus Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul, gave that a 3.5 out of 5. CM Punk versus Gunther, got a 4.5 out of 5. So you add up all my scores, it goes out to 20. 20 divided by 6 gives us an average rating of a 3.3, and then you convert it to the 10-point scale. It's 6.6 out of 10. I'm going to round that up to a 7. So night 1 of SummerSlam gets a 7 out of 10 for me. And then, like I said, I got 3 out of 6 matches correct, which gives us 50%. Now let's move on to night 2 of SummerSlam. All right, the kickoff night 2 of SummerSlam, we had Naomi, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky for the WWE Women's World Championship, and this one started hot. Rhea and Io did the whole "we're temporary allies" thing, but of course that would break down. Naomi brought the fire with that nasty split-legged moonsault. Io flew all over the damn place, springboards, missile drop kicks, moonsault to the outside. I mean, if you wanted chaos, you got it. And then Rhea reminded us that she's a fucking tank. Razor's Edge, Avalanche Riptide. The woman does not mess around. Let's go to the finish. Rhea hits a brutal Avalanche Riptide on Io. Looks like it's over, but Naomi, like a damn thief in the night, rolls her up, grabs the tights, gets the 3 count. Sneaky, dirty, brilliant. She retains. My take on the match, I actually enjoyed this. It played out almost exactly how I thought it would. Naomi retaining made perfect sense. She pinned Rhea, which I'm cool with. Io already lost the belt to her at Evolution, so Rhea eating the pin this time balances things out. It was a strong ass opener, not a 5-star match, but a solid 4 out of 5. And let's talk about that post-match moment. Rhea carrying Io backstage. That was chef's kiss. Completely broke character in the best way possible. It trended online, and honestly, it showed the chemistry that these two have. WWE would be dumb not to explore a tag run between them. Even a short-term alliance would be money. So where do we go from here? Naomi is locked in. Proceed with caution is more than just a catchphrase. It's her vibe. She's heading into a program with Stephanie Vaquer, which could be fire if they book it right for Clash in Paris. Naomi's heel run, it's in full effect, and I'm digging it. The crowd's reacting, and she's finally getting the run that she deserved years ago. This match set the tone for night 2. Athletic, dramatic, unpredictable, well, kind of, and full of potential story fallout. Naomi continues to prove that she can hang at the top. I'm invested in what's next, and that's what matters most. Naomi's got the gold, Rhea and Io have chemistry, the division has direction, and SummerSlam Night 2 is already cooking. Let's fucking go. Alright, let's talk about the madness that was the 6-pack TLC match for the WWE Tag Team Championships. This wasn't just chaotic. This was a violent ballet of carnage, and I mean that in the best way possible. So the Wyatt Six, Joe Gacy and Dexter Lumis, went into this match with the belts and somehow walked out still champs. And look, it wasn't clean, it wasn't pretty, but holy hell, it was a car crash masterpiece. 6 teams, tables, ladders, chairs, all legal, all flying everywhere. You had Gacy and Lumis, the champions, DIY, the Street Profits, Fraxium, Motor City Machine Guns, Andrade and Rey Fenix, and these guys went to fucking war. Now, as far as some of the spots that we had in this match, Johnny Gargano hit a springboard DDT through a table. Dexter Lumis had a flying leg drop to Montez Ford through another table. Rey Fenix did a frog splash on Nathan Frazier through a table. And Axiom, my God, hitting a Spanish fly through a table on Dawkins. That one got a legit holy shit chant from me in my own living room. Oh, and we gotta talk about Candice LeRae. She tried to help her husband, Johnny Gargano, and Tommaso Ciampa get the damn belts. But however, Montez Ford sent Tommaso Ciampa into a ladder, and Candice flies off that same ladder and crashes through another one on the outside. Just brutal. Props to her. She's one of the toughest in the game. No question. And yeah, I get the gripes about Uncle Howdy and Eric Rowan interfering. Some fans weren't happy about that, but come on, they're part of a cult. This is what they do. Howdy shoving ladders, knocking guys off. It was part of the chaos. Like it or not, it fit. The finish. In the end, Gacy climbs the ladder, Lumis helps him out, and boom, the Wyatt Six retain. It's a statement win, and now granted, the crowd wasn't fully behind them. They were boos. Yeah, I agree that this, it hasn't fully clicked with the audience. And I don't know if they're supposed to be faces or heels. They have been more heelish than anything as of late. As far as the rating, 5 out of 5. No doubt in my mind. I don't toss out perfect scores like candy, but for what this was, they nailed it. This is what a TLC match should be. Brutal, unpredictable, creative, and just fucking wild. The tag division might still have its issues, uneven booking, shaky structure, but this match was a highlight reel for what tag wrestling can look like when WWE lets these guys go nuts. Props to everyone involved. Shout out to the Motor City Machine Guns for showing they still hang, and Fraxium. Future's bright, man. And if this is what we're getting moving forward, then the SmackDown Tag Division might be on fire soon, assuming WWE keeps the momentum and doesn't bungle it. All right, let's break down this war between Becky Lynch and Lyra Valkyria for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. No DQ, no countout, and no fucking hand-holding either. Just two Irish warriors throwing absolute bombs at each other. This was the blow-off to a long personal feud, and they didn't hold back. Right out the gate, Becky and Lyra beat the holy hell out of each other. You could feel the tension from the second the bell rang. Friends turned enemies, and they fought like it. Weapons? Oh, we got weapons. Kendo sticks, crowbars, steel chains, steel chairs, a damn wrench, and even a fire extinguisher. Becky zip-tied Lyra's hands and then just laid into her like it was a public execution. And for a moment, it felt like a savage, brilliant spot, but then it got messy. Lyra's hand slipped out of the zip tie, and she just kind of slipped it back in like we wouldn't notice. Come on. That totally broke the flow. And look, I know wrestling scripted, you know wrestling scripted, but you still want it to feel real. You want it to make sense. That was a major you had one job moment. If Lyra had just improvised, told the ref she was loose, had Becky pivot, it could have added to the realism. Instead, it killed that brutal momentum they were building. Still, mad props to Lyra for that no-hands moonsault. That was baller. And she kept fighting like a champ, even tied up. You can't question her heart or her toughness. This match made her look like a future main eventer, no doubt. Then we got Bayley. And yeah, I saw it coming. WWE wants to stretch this Lynch title run a little bit more, and Bayley's the perfect wrench to throw in. She accidentally cracked Lyra in the head with a steel chain, which led to Becky landing the manhandle slam for the win. So Becky Lynch defeats Lyra Valkyria via pinfall after 25 minutes of carnage, and because of the stipulation, Lyra cannot challenge for the title as long as Becky holds it. So that door slams shut for now. As far as the good stuff, the brutality on point, the story, personal and layered, Lyra's performance, star-making, despite the L. Becky still cooking with his edgy, borderline heel vibe. And yeah, even though some people didn't love Bayley's interference, it sets up a continuation of the tension between Lyra and Bayley. But here's the issue. The match dragged in spots, the zip tie botch killed the illusion, some of the violence felt repetitive after a while. And the ending, a little flat. Bayley accidentally costing Lyra the match might have served the story, but it wasn't the cleanest way to end such a heated rivalry. My final rating, 4 out of 5. This had the potential to be a 5-star classic, but a few key moments brought it down. Still, it was damn good, but it keeps the Becky train rolling while Lyra gets a ton of respect coming out of it. This feud is done, but the door is open for bigger things for both women. Alright, let's talk about the steel cage match between Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu for the United States Championship. Now let me say it straight, this match sucked ass. There's no sugarcoating it. On paper, you've got two absolute beasts. Solo Sikoa riding high as the boss of MFT, and Jacob freaking Fatu, who's a damn monster. This should have been a fight, a war, a straight up prison yard brawl inside a steel cage. Instead, we got a glorified MFT run-in fest wrapped in steel bars. The match started off hot. Fatu came out guns a-blazing, and for a second I thought, okay, maybe they're going to let these two tear it up. He had back-to-back moonsaults, the crowd was feeling it, I was feeling it, but then here comes the clown car. We had interference from everybody. Tongaloa, JC Mateo, Talatonga, Hell, Jimmy Uso popped in trying to even the odds for Fatu, but it didn't matter. They even handcuffed Fatu to the cage at one point, like we're doing Attitude Era cosplay with none of the payoff. And the finish, don't even get me started. Solo just falls out of the damn cage after Talatonga slams the door in Jacob's face. That's it. That's how it ends. Not a definitive win, not a show-stealing war, just a cheap-ass escape and another chapter in the never-ending story of let's protect Solo at all costs. Now, I will give Jacob credit for the post-match moonsault off the top of the cage. That was badass. Dude looked like he was trying to murder JC Mateo and Tongaloa, but unfortunately, it came after 20 minutes of us sitting through more overbooked bullshit. Let's be honest, the steel cage is supposed to keep the fight in and the interference out, but WWE gave it used as a damn prop and didn't even try to honor the stipulation. Jacob Fatu deserves better. He's being booked like a threat, but treated like an afterthought. I gave this a 2 out of 5 because there were brief flashes of what this match could have been, but instead of giving us fire, they gave us watered down gasoline and a spark that never caught. Disappointing as hell. And then that'll bring us to Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles for the Intercontinental Championship. And man, they cooked up a hell of a match with storytelling baked right into the batter. First off, AJ rolling out in a lowrider. The crowd popped. I popped. Eddie Guerrero tribute gear on top of that. That's some psychological warfare right there. He's got in Dom's head before the bell even rang. And Dom leaned into it too. Full on lie, cheat, and steal energy. And I gotta say, it worked for him. You can tell he's not just cosplaying heel anymore. He's owning it. The chair spot, classic. Trying to bait AJ and make it look like he hit him. Beautiful callback. Then the finish, Styles locks in the calf crusher, Dom slips out of his damn boot, swings it like a weapon, ref's distracted, frog splash, 1, 2, 3, just like that. Was it clean? No. But was it clever? Yep. It fits Dom's character to a T, and let's not pretend that Eddie didn't do the same damn thing on the biggest stages. AJ Styles looked like he was seeing ghosts after the loss. If this was his last SummerSlam, he went out doing the damn thing. But Dom, Dirty Dom just keeps rising. No Judgment Day needed, just his boot and his bullshit. My rating, a 3.5 out of 5. Great story, great pacing, and even though the finish was shady, it made perfect sense. Dom is stepping up, and whether you like him or not, he's starting to feel legit. All right, that'll bring us to the main event of night 2. Cody Rhodes, John Cena, street fight for the undisputed WWE Championship. And what we witnessed? A true fucking classic. Let's get the basics out of the way first. Cody Rhodes beat John Cena to reclaim the undisputed championship in a brutal, creative, wild-ass street fight that blew my expectations out of the water. This wasn't just a good match. This wasn't even just a great match. This was John Cena's greatest match ever. Bar none. I said what I said. And before you start saying I'm being hyperbolic, go back and watch that thing again. Cena was out there on some one last dance type bullshit. Like he knew the clock was ticking and he wanted to leave it all in the ring. And Cody was fighting like a man possessed. Like he had to win. Like losing wasn't an option. And that energy came through in every single sequence. This match had everything. Cena using a crutch from Tyrese fucking Halliburton. How's that for Indiana representation? Cody hits an avalanche Cody cutter through a table like it's just another Tuesday. They're brawling into the crowd. disappearing under the stage, popping out the damn elevator shaft. What are we doing here? Movie shit. Then Cena hits an AA on the ramp, hits another from the top rope, hits 3 straight attitude adjustments, and Cody still kicks out. I lost my damn mind. Then Cody hits a Cody cutter from the top through a table and finishes Cena with one final crossroads. That's it. 1, 2, 3. New champ, absolute war. And let's not skip over this. Cena presented Cody with the belt. He literally handed him the title as a sign of respect. They hugged it out. Crowd stood up. Felt like an era ended right there. And I'm not even going to lie. I got chills. Cena looked around like he knew it was the end of the road. This was billed as his last SummerSlam, and it sure as hell felt like it. And then Brock Lesnar returns. I almost fell out of my fucking chair. I'll do a whole separate episode about Brock coming back because that shit needs unpacked. But for now, just know that the beast is back. After 2 years gone, after everything surrounding that lawsuit, WWE pulled the trigger and brought him back. And what does he do? F5 Cena into the damn mat. Show ends with Brock standing tall over Cena's broken body. Now look, I get the controversy. A lot of people are pissed about Brock Lesnar even being there. I hear you. And again, I'll talk about all of that in the next episode. But let's stay focused here. This match, 5 stars, easy. It's on my top 5 matches of all time list now. And I don't say that lightly. Cody and John fucking delivered. And if this is Cena's last truly big match, what a way to go out. That man gave everything to this business, and Cody just added another legacy-defining win to his story. Let's get into my correct predictions. I got 4 out of 6 matches correct. I incorrectly predicted that Lyra Valkyria would beat Becky Lynch. Becky picked up the win. I also incorrectly predicted that Jacob Fott 2 would beat Solo Sikoa. As you know, Solo won that match. So yeah, I got 4 out of 6 correct, which brings me to a 66.7% prediction accuracy. Now let's go to the ratings. So Naomi, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky got a 4 out of 5. The 6-pack TLC got a 5 out of 5. Becky versus Lyra, a 4 out of 5. Solo versus Jacob, a 2 out of 5. Dom and AJ, a 3.5 out of 5. And Cena versus Cody, 5 out of 5. So, you calculate that all up, and you got a 23.5, divide that by 6, and it equals a 3.9 average rating. So we convert that to a 10-point scale. It'll be a 7.8 out of 10. Going to round that up to an 8. So night 2, 8 out of 10. Now we go with both scores for night 1 and night 2. Night 1 got a 7 out of 10, and night 2 got an 8 out of 10. So overall, SummerSlam gets an 8 out of 10. And, for the first ever 2-night SummerSlam, I feel like it was a big success for WWE, for sure. You had some classic matches. You had some, viral moments, including the return of Brock Lesnar. And I will be talking about everything Brock Lesnar in the next episode. So stay tuned for that. But all in all, SummerSlam, it was an enjoyable weekend. Great show, both nights. You know, WWE definitely delivered. And hopefully they can follow this up next year when they continue the 2-night extravaganza that is SummerSlam. So that's my review, guys. Let me know if you agree, disagree. Let me know. And be sure to subscribe and follow the podcast. And I will be talking to you all again soon. Enjoy wrestling and stay focused.